Hey, how's it going, everyone? Your friend Dean Kulaweera here. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time Zone, I'm right here to help you folks out with job search tips, advice, strategies, and stuff that you can apply to your job search, right? So, hey, shout out to everyone on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, tuning in. I'm gonna go live on Instagram as well right now, actually. So let me just give me a second, folks, so I can. Does this thing even work? I don't know. I usually have trouble when I try to go live on Instagram, so I don't know what's going on there. Just give me a few more seconds, folks, so I can fix that. But let me know who you are in the comments. Make sure you let me know who you are. Introduce yourself in the comments. Looks like I'm live on Instagram as well. Shout out to everyone on Instagram. And let me know who you are, folks. Who you are, where you're tuning in from, what field, what industry you're in, and put yourself out there, right? So look, I do this show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time Zone to help you folks out who are job seeking, job searching, whether actively or passively. I share my experiences, my perspective as someone who has worked in the staffing industry for 8+ years. And today's topic, three things that recruiters are looking for when they're recruiting, right? And this is something so key and so important that will help you really stand out to recruiters, and also will give you an idea of what exactly the recruiter is interested in or was interested in when they came across your profile and your resume and all that stuff. So don't be shy. Introduce yourself in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions as I'm going through today's topic. And let me see. We got Ashwin Iyer in the house. Ashwin, shout out to Ashwin. Good to have you here, tuning in from YouTube. Good to have you here, Ashwin. Appreciate that. And I hope you're doing fantastic. And don't be shy, folks. It looks like we got a bit of a shy crowd today. So if you are shy, don't be shy. Feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. All right. So today's topic, folks, three things that recruiters are looking for, which will stand out. All right. And for those of you who just tuned in on Instagram, welcome to today's stream. I'm talking about three things that recruiters are really looking for when they're recruiting. Now, quick note before I get into today's topic. All right. There could be many things, folks. There could be many things that capture the attention of a recruiter. All right? I'm not just saying that it's just only these three things. There are a multitude of things that might capture the attention of a recruiter, right? I mean, it could be something like your interests, your hobbies, something they noticed on your resume, your LinkedIn profile. It could be maybe you're some place that you volunteered, right? Maybe you and the recruiter both volunteered or support a charity, the same charity. It could be that you went to a certain school, or you went to a certain college or university. Could be that some courses, some certifications that you did that caught their attention. So I just want to say, look, there could be a whole bunch of stuff that really get the attention of the recruiter, right? I'm not saying it's only these three things that I'm talking about today. Could be a whole bunch of stuff, but typically, right? And this is based on my conversations with hiring teams. As a recruiter, like it's typically and always and usually, it usually comes down to just three things. All right, it usually comes down to three things. We got Kieran Iyer in the house, another person with the last name Iyer. So it looks like we got a lot of Iyers in the house. So Kieran, shout out to Kieran here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you're doing great as well, Kieran. Appreciate you joining in today's stream. So before I get into today's, before I get into the three things, folks, hit me up with a like and a share. Make sure you hit me up with a like and a share. Always appreciate that. And share this with anyone in your network you think might benefit from today's segment, all right? So what are the three things, right? What are these three things that hiring teams are usually looking for that are translated and conveyed to the recruiter, and the recruiter bases their search around? Because look, at the end of the day, folks, it's not entirely about what the recruiter is looking for, right? Of course, the recruiter might have certain preferences and likes and dislikes about what they're looking for in an ideal candidate. But the recruiter gets their requirements. Always remember this. If you're taking notes, you want to always remember this and take note of this. The recruiter gets the requirements in regards to this position or this job from the hiring team, right? It is the hiring team that translates, okay, this is what we're looking for. This is what we need in an ideal candidate. We need the person to have this, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, whatever it is. And we need you to go out there into the marketplace and find us these people. So the recruiter gets these requirements from the hiring team, right? And again, this is based on my experiences working in the staffing industry, 8+ years. That's how it's always been. I've never recruited on a role where I was just looking for what I was looking for. The recruiter is not looking for something if there's no hiring team. The whole purpose of a recruiter, folks, remember, the whole purpose of a recruiter, the whole function of a recruiter is to help save time for the hiring team, right? If the hiring team could recruit on their own, they would do it. But no, recruiting is not the hiring team's primary function. They have their own set of responsibilities and duties and stuff like that. So the recruiter has to go out into the marketplace based on the requirements of the hiring team. Now, the three things that I want to share with you today, right, that recruiters are looking for are based on my experiences in conversation and in discussions with hiring teams. And again, like I said, it could be a whole bunch of stuff that can capture the attention of a recruiter, or for that matter, a hiring team. But typically in my conversations with hiring managers, hiring teams, and companies and organizations looking for certain types of individuals, it usually drops down to three main areas that they're looking for. Now, here are the three areas, and I'm gonna give it to you, pretty much up front. The three areas are: number one, skills; number two, types of projects; and number three, types of industries. Okay, these are the three things that a recruiter is going to base their search around when they're conducting their search. Now, it could be one of these things, one of these three things, or it could be a combination of these three things. I recruited on roles where it was just one of these things that was extremely important, and I recruited on roles where it's been a combination of these three things. All right, so I'm going to dive into these three things in a bit more detail so you understand. And what I want you to do after this session is take this away and see how you can apply this to your job search, because this is not just random information. Like, you need to be thinking about, okay, Dean's sharing these tips with me. How can I use this and apply this to my job search? And how am I going to use this and apply this in my conversations with the recruiters, right? So again, the three things are skills, type of skills. Number two is types of projects. Number three is types of industries. This is what it pretty much comes down to, folks. When a recruiter is conducting their search, it revolves around these three things that are, again, conveyed to them from the hiring team. Now, in regards to skills, what I'm talking about here is pretty straightforward, right? Actual, technical, hands-on skills, right? Stakeholder management, software development, coding in JavaScript, coding in Java, setting up Microsoft servers, right? Specific versions of those servers, setting up users with emails, using Microsoft Office products, right? Setting up people with Microsoft Office products, using and utilizing certain things to perform the day-to-day tasks in your roles. Actual skills, right? That's what I mean here. So a recruiter might have a meeting with the hiring team, and the hiring team will be like, look, Dean, it's pretty straightforward. We really need someone with XYZ skills. That's pretty much what we're looking for. We don't care what types of projects, we don't care what types of industries, but they have to have these skills. So we want you to go out into the marketplace and find people with these skills. So what the recruiter does is they're like, okay, all right, cool. The most important thing to the hiring team is that the candidate has these specific skills. So I'm going to go out, and that's what I'm going to base my search around, right? And again, whatever the field is, whatever the industry, whatever the type of position is, the focus is going to be on skills in that scenario. And going from there, what does this mean, folks? This means that what captures the recruiter's attention on your resume, your LinkedIn profile, what you talk about on the phone, will revolve around these actual skills. All right, that's what they're looking for. That's what they're listening for. That's what they're going to be looking out for, and that's what they're going to be wanting you to emphasize and highlight in your conversations, right? Because that's what again, it all comes down to what the hiring team is looking for, which is what the recruiter is going to be focusing their search on. All right, so that's what I mean when I mean skills. Skills means actual, pretty much day-to-day, hands-on skills and skill sets. It could also be, knowledge and maybe certain knowledge about certain things. But you get the point, right? Actual skills that they need the candidate to have knowledge of or perform or something of that sort. Now, the second thing is projects. Okay, so I'm a recruiter. I'm in a meeting with the hiring team. And the hiring team's like, look, Dean, we can train people on these skills. We can train people on what they need to do or what needs to be done, but they have to have experience with certain types of projects. All right. We need someone who has experience with these types of projects, because this is the type of project we're working on right now. And it has to be someone who has previous experiences working in these types of projects. That's what's most important to us. Now, some examples of this could be, for example, they need someone who has experience working on CRM projects, right? Customer relationship management software projects. We need someone who has experience working on cloud projects, cybersecurity projects. We need someone who has experience working with billing systems. We need someone who has experience working with inventory systems, right? The project experience is the most important aspect. The skills, yeah, I mean, usually the skills are still important, obviously, right? But what I'm saying here is the actual project types, project experience is extremely important to the hiring team. And so the recruiter taking this information is going to be like, okay, so it's not just skills I'm looking for. Like, I got to be looking for people who have these skills, plus they have experience working in these specific types of projects. Now, quick example, maybe I meet with the hiring team. They're like, and again, I give experience, I give examples in IT because I'm an IT recruiter. But this applies to any field, folks. Whatever field you're in, if you're watching this, this very much applies to any field. So let's say I got a meeting with the hiring team, right? And they're like, Dean, so we're looking for a Java developer. But Java is not the only thing. Like, we need someone who has actually worked on software projects. And who has actually coded inventory systems. We need a Java developer who has worked extensively in building inventory systems, because the current project we're working on, we're building out a new inventory system for a client of ours. And that's what's really, really most important, is someone who has that experience working on inventory systems and coding them from scratch, blah, 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 whatever, right? So notice that the importance here is not just the skill, of the developer being able to code in Java, but also the skill and the ability to actually build out inventory systems, right? In inventory software or something of that sort. So this is what the recruiter is going to be basing their search around, right? When they go out into the marketplace, they're going to be looking for not just Java ability to code in Java, but also specific types of project. And in this example, coding inventory systems, right? So this is the other thing the recruiter is going to be looking for, is actual, these actual projects. So this is the other criteria. This is the other thing that the recruiter will focus their search on, folks. So it's not just skills, but also it could be types of projects. So now there's two aspects the recruiter is going to be looking for, not just actual skills, but also types of projects. Now, what does this mean for you? You need to be paying attention to these things, folks, because in your conversations with recruiters, you need to find out. And sometimes the recruiter is going to let you know this up front. Sometimes they're not going to let you know this up front. This is what you got to find out from the recruiter, right? So if the recruiter is looking for certain projects, certain types of project experience, and they mention that to you, don't get so caught up in each and every aspect of your background and your experience. I mean, yeah, you want to mention all your standout projects, but you want to pay special attention to the types of projects that caught their attention about you and your resume on your LinkedIn profile. Because again, that's going to be the most important aspect aside from actual skills, all right? So number two, again, is types of projects. Now, the third thing is types of industries, folks. Oftentimes, sometimes I'll be meeting with the hiring team and they're like, okay, Dean, it's not just about the skills, not just about the types of projects. We don't really care about types of projects, but what we really need is someone who has experience working in the banking sector. We need a project manager who has worked on banking projects. And that might be one of the most important aspects for the role, right? So it's not just about skills. Maybe the types of project, the actual project themselves doesn't really matter, but they need someone who has worked in certain types of industries, because they need this person to have knowledge of maybe navigating certain types of red tape or politics within these certain types of industries, right? So examples of types of industry experience. Again, I gave you an example right now, but again, examples would be industry experience in the finance sector, banking, insurance, cybersecurity, cloud. What else? Consulting companies, agencies. What else? Retail, government, right? Actual industries, right? And again, this is an example of another area that I recruited on where actual industry experience was one of the most important factors, not just the actual skills, not just the actual hands-on skills, not just the actual types of projects, but also the actual industry experience, right? I've definitely experienced this when I'm recruiting in the banking sector as well as the government sector. Typically, banking clients, they're looking for people, and again, whatever skill set, developers, project managers, business analysts, whatever, right? They want people who have experience working in the banking sector, right? This is not the case all the time, but majority of the time, that is a preference, right? Same thing in government, right? And recruiting on government positions, typically they want people who have previously worked in the government sector. So industry can be a very important thing. And again, folks, just like what I mentioned with actual projects, if you can find this out, and again, the recruiter might not always let you know about this, that this is what really caught their attention about your profile. You want to find this, you want to ask this, you want to find this out. And if it is clear to you that they're looking that what caught their attention about your resume, your LinkedIn profile, was your experience working in the retail industry, I don't know, 2-3 years back, then you want to pay special focus and attention to that experience, and you want to highlight that aspect as much as possible, in addition to the other areas that you have experience with, right? So it's these three areas, folks, right? The recruiter is going to be really paying attention to when they're speaking to you, right? Skills is usually the one that they're going to be paying the most attention to. This is like, 100%, 99% of the time, if not 100% of the time, skills is going to be what they're looking for. Number two is types of projects, right? They're looking for, okay, yeah, you got the right skills, but they need someone who has experience in certain types of projects. Again, I gave you some examples: certain types of systems, certain types of software, certain types of projects, right? Types of projects. The third thing is types of industries. They need someone who has worked in certain types of industries: banking, retail, government, finance, insurance, SaaS, cloud, cybersecurity, digital transformation industries, right? Like types of companies, right? Not projects, but types of companies. So these are the three areas it usually comes down to, folks, right? That will capture the attention of the recruiter. And again, the recruiter gets these requirements from the hiring team, and usually these requirements from the hiring team, well, when the recruiter asks the hiring team, hey, what's important to you in an ideal candidate, usually comes down to these three areas. Sometimes it's just one of those areas. Sometimes it could be a combination of these three areas. So again, skills, projects, types of industries. Now, knowing this, what can you as a job seeker do with this? And I'm going to get to get to the how you can use this shortly. But I do see some questions and some comments here. So we got Ashwin here. So Ashwin says, hey, Dean, is it better to have skills blended within your roles and responsibilities under each role you worked in, or is it better to have a separate section with the list of skills in the resume? So Ashwin, my opinion on this is you should do both, right? You should definitely have a skills summary section at the top of your resume, because the skills summary is extremely important, and it allows the recruiter within a couple of seconds to glance at your resume and say, okay, yeah, this person has the skills I'm looking for. So that way, Ashwin, the recruiter doesn't have to like read each and every position in detail in order for them to gather whether or not you have the right skills. So having a separate skill section, I highly recommend this, because again, remember, and most of you have probably heard this, right? But feel free to Google this as well. On average, the person reviewing your resume, you in general takes 7.4 seconds to do an initial quick scan of your resume. So if you have a skill section at the top of your resume, it's just going to make it much more easier for them to scan it and be like, okay, this person definitely has the skill I'm looking for. I'm going to take a bit more time now to read their resume in a bit more detail. So I would say do both, Ashwin. You want to have both. You want to have a skills section at the top that summarizes your skills, but you also want to describe your skills and mention your skills in the actual roles for each role and position as well, because this helps make it more ATS friendly and keyword rich and friendly as well. All right. So hope that helps, Ashwin. Great question there. So Nabil says, how do you ask it? So shout out to Nabil. Thanks so much for your question, Nabil. Nabil says, so how do you ask a recruiter what caught their eye on your resume? Literally, Nabil, you ask them just exactly that, right? Like, what caught your attention about my resume? Like, what made you want to give me a phone call? It's a very simple, straightforward question you can ask the recruiter, and the recruiters will appreciate it, right? Because the recruiter doesn't want to waste their time. They want to be professional. They don't want to waste your time. They don't want to waste their own time as well. So simply asking it just the way you did, Nabil, is perfectly fine and reasonable. So just ask the recruiter, hey, Dean, appreciate you giving me a phone call. And before I run you through my resume, just out of curiosity, Dean, what caught your attention about my resume? And hey, Dean and any other recruiter out there, I guarantee will be more than happy to let you know what caught their attention about your resume. And if there's any recruiters watching this who disagree with me, hey, feel free to let me know in the comments, right? But I'm 100% sure, Nabil, most recruiters out there will appreciate that, all right? So hope that answers your question. Hey, we got my man Sugantan in the house. Hey, Sugantan, good to have you here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Folks, if you need look, this is kind of off topic, but if you need a mortgage done, all right, you're investing in a condo, you're investing in a house, you're investing in a commercial property or a building, whatever it is, this guy can get it. I don't know how the weather people do it, but this guy can get it done, all right? I personally dealt with him. Fantastic guy, very professional. He can get it done, folks, all right? So if you're a home buyer, condo buyer, building, whatever it is, something related to real estate, you need a mortgage done, feel free to reach out to this guy, all right? He'll help you out, all right? Reach out to Sugantan. I have personal experience working with him. I've done business with him. Highly recommend him. Great guy, awesome guy. Make sure you reach out to him, all right? Hope you're doing great, Sugantan, all right? I gave you a shout out there. So I hope that gets you some people reaching out, all right? Hope you're doing well, my friend. All right, so we got a question here from Johan. So Johan says, I've been told by IBM recruiters not to list projects you worked. I was told projects are listed on non-experienced candidates. Yeah, so Johan, I'm not sure if you're mistaking what I'm saying for school projects. I'm not talking about school projects. I'm talking about actual work projects that you worked on. So I don't know what exactly you mean by the IBM recruiter saying not to list projects. If they're talking about don't disclose private or confidential information or experience, yeah, I mean don't disclose anything that would violate a non-disclosure agreement. But you should be mentioning the types of projects you worked on, right? If you worked on a CRM project, for example, it looks like you're a project manager. If you worked on a CRM project, you might want to mention that on your resume. If you worked on an ERP project, you might want to mention that on your resume, right? So I'm not sure why they advise you that. Maybe there's some more context and information about that, but I don't see any issue with mentioning the actual projects you've done, right? I mean, I would never. That would not lead me to think, hey, this is a non-experienced candidate. So I'm not sure what happened there, Johan, but this is just my 2 cents in regards to that. All right. Nabil said, awesome. Thank you. Hey, no worries, Nabil. Hope that helps. Tony Wang. Tony Wang says, hi, Dean. Hope you're doing well. What is ATS? All right, so shout out to Tony. Thanks for tuning in, Tony. So Tony, ATS means applicant tracking system. All right, so what is an applicant tracking system? So this is a great question. I'm glad you asked, Tony, because oftentimes I'm so used to talking about the ATS, I oftentimes forget that, hey, not everyone out there might know what an ATS is. So great question here. So an ATS is basically a software, right, or an application or a platform that most companies, not every company, but most companies out there use. And when I say companies, what I mean is mostly the recruitment team or human resources, in order for them to more effectively organize candidates that are applying for positions they posted, and also integrating it with some internal database they might have where they actually store the resumes. So the ATS, Tony, is basically a system used for recruiters and HR people to better do their job, manage their candidate pipelines, manage people who have applied for specific jobs. And also simply, some candidate, when these resumes are submitted to these ATS systems or uploaded to these ATS systems, it also allows the recruiter or the hiring manager at some point in the future to be able to actually search the database for resumes and people who might have applied in the past. So long story short, that is what an ATS is. Hope that helps, Tony. And let me know if you have any questions about that. All right. And let's see here. We got Johan says, thanks, Dean. Hey, no worries, Johan. And Sugandhan says, thanks. Thank you. Hey, no worries, Sugandhan. Hope you're doing great, my friend. So, all right. Now, if you have any more questions about that, feel free to put it in the comments, folks. Now, these 3 things I mentioned, right? Skills, projects, types of industries you worked at. What can you do with this information? Well, first thing you got to do is, and I kind of covered this example with Nabil, is you have to verify with the recruiter you're speaking to, folks, which of these things caught their attention about your resume or your LinkedIn profile, or why they reached out to you. If you don't know this, you might be talking about all of your experiences, right? Everything you have experience with, which is great, but you want to hone in on, you want to focus on, you want to really, really clarify and emphasize whatever it is that got the attention of the recruiter, right? Because it's not just about what you yourself are excited about regarding your experiences and what you've done in your professional experiences. Of course, that's important, and of course, you want to be proud of whatever it is you're proud of. But what you really want to emphasize and really, really focus your attention on, folks, is what caught the attention of the recruiter. Because ultimately, that's what's gonna help move the conversation forward, right? If you're looking for candy bars, for example, right? Let's say I sell chocolate bars, all right? I sell Kit Kat, I sell Wonder Bars, I sell Cadbury chocolates, but you really want your favorite chocolate bar is Kit Kat bars, right? And you approach me, you're like, Dean, I really love Kit Kat bars. Do you sell Kit Kat bars? And I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely sell Kit Kat bars, but I also sell Cadbury bars, and I love Cadbury, and this is why you should like Cadbury as well. And here's my selection of Cadbury chocolates, and blah blah blah. And I keep talking about Cadbury chocolates. I keep talking about the Wonder Bars, right? Now, what's going to happen at your end? Yeah, you might be interested in hearing about my selection of Cadbury chocolates and Wonder Bar chocolates and whatever other brands. But what caught your attention about me, why you came to me, was because you heard that I sell Kit Kat bars, and you're most interested in the Kit Kat bars, right? So anyway, I'm going into this example with chocolates, but because I've been craving chocolates lately, that's why. But the whole point of that, folks, is you need to find out what caught the attention of the recruiter, right? You need to find out what caught the attention of the person reaching out to you. And you need to find that out as soon as possible by simply asking, hey, what caught your attention about my resume? What caught your attention about my LinkedIn profile? And knowing that, you want to emphasize those aspects of your background, right? Maybe it's your CRM projects experience that caught my attention. Maybe it's your experience working in the government sector from a few years back. Maybe that's what caught your attention, right? I need to find that out so I can emphasize those aspects of my background, right? Now, that does not mean I ignore everything else. That does not mean I don't talk about my amazing projects that I did in cloud related projects I did, my amazing cybersecurity projects, the projects I did in the retail sector and the banking sector. That is not. I'm not saying, folks, I'm not saying ignore everything else. What I'm saying is you want to pay special attention to whatever it is caught the attention of the recruiter, or for that matter, whoever it is you're speaking to on the phone, right? And it usually comes down to these three things: skills, types of projects, and types of industry experience, right? It generally comes down to these three things, folks. Now, and again, like I said at the beginning of the stream, could be a whole bunch of other things that caught the attention of the recruiter or whoever it is that's reaching out to you. But in most cases, most of the time, it pretty much boils down to these three things: skills, types of projects, and types of industry experience. All right. So look, take this information, folks, apply this to your job search, apply this to your conversations with recruiters. All right. So you can focus in on how you're going to sell yourself to recruiters and to the people that you'll be speaking to. All right. We got Tony. Tony says, thank you. Appreciate the feedback. No worries, Tony. Hope that helps out. Nabil says, could you give an input on having a profile summary on the resume? How long should it be if it is even supposed to be there? Yeah, look, Nabil, the profile summary, you want to keep it very concise, right? You don't want to write like a whole bunch of, like an entire page length or anything. The summary on your resume should be a concise summary of basically who you are and what you bring to the table and what you have to offer to organizations. It should be something very quick that can be read within a couple of seconds. And by a couple of seconds, I mean 10 to 15, maybe 20 seconds at most, where the person reading it can read it, get a full view of who you are and what you bring to the table, and will help them figure out, hey, should I keep reading this resume, right? That is the purpose of the summary. It's basically the hook. It's the hook on your resume. Think of it like the elevator pitch. Think of it like the 30-second pitch that people make when they call you, like the telemarketers, right? It'll help you justify whether you should keep reading the resume. That is the purpose and function of the resume. So make sure it does that. All right. Hope that helps, Nabil. Nabil also says, if I have two different roles that are simultaneously going on, what is the best way to put them on the resume? Yeah, I mean, put them both, Nabil, right? Maybe you want to put special attention and focus on whichever one is relevant to the position you're applying for. But yeah, I mean, have both of them there simultaneously, right? I don't see any issue with that, as long as it's relevant for the role that you're applying for. So hope that helps, Nabil. All right. So that's it. That's it for today's topic, folks. And look, for those of you interested, I am currently working on a pre-recorded digital course where I'm teaching people how to most effectively win in their conversations with recruiters. Right? How do you get the attention of recruiters? How do you make sure that you're able to build and keep those relationships with recruiters? What really gets the attention of a recruiter and keeps their attention when you're speaking to them on the phone? How do you deal with common objections and stalls, such as, I'm speaking to other candidates right now, I'll get back to you, or send me a resume and you never hear from them again, or hey, a whole bunch of other ones, right? Like, how do you get the attention of a recruiter? How do you stand out? How do you make sure that they keep you on top of mind when the right opportunities come up? So I'm working on a digital course right now, folks. It's not ready right now. But if you want to stay informed, make sure you sign up for my email list where I share job search tips, advice, and strategies. I will be announcing the course on there, and I will be sharing special pricing with my email subscribers. So if you want to, make sure you sign up for my email list. You can check it out at dkglobaltalent.com, dkglobaltalent.com, dkglobaltalent.com. So subscribe to my email list, and I will share more details when that course becomes available. All right. So if you found today's session helpful, hit me up with a like and a share, folks. Always appreciate that. And hey, I'll do my best to respond to any questions after the stream if I did miss your question. And keep pushing through, folks. All right. Your conversations with recruiters are important, right? I know recruiters aren't the major primary decision makers, but they certainly do have pull and influence over who gets to move along in the process. All right. And you need to be making sure that you win in your conversations with recruiters, get their attention, make a fantastic impression, and really communicate to them the value and everything that you bring to the table, so you can move forward in the conversation, right? So make sure you stay tuned in, and make sure you follow me for more information about my course, which will be releasing soon. And just follow me for all my job search tips, advice, and strategies that I'm always putting out. All right. So, hey, Dean Kulaweera here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tune in every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time zone for my live stream. For more job search tips, advice, and strategies, make sure you hit me up with a like and share. And make sure you hit me up with a follow. And if you're watching the replay, appreciate you tuning in. And most importantly, folks, take action on this. All right. Take action. Remember the 3 things I spoke about today. All right. Types of skills, types of projects, types of industry experience. That's pretty much what it boils down to, and what recruiters are looking for when they're conducting their searches, right? Hey, Dean Kulaweera here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a fantastic remainder of the week, folks, and I'll see you around soon, all right? Take care.